Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah,
how are you?
I'm good, buddy. You?
I'm also good. I'm annoyed that you had an entirely new Zoom and didn't think to tell me, but
I didn't know. I didn't know. Zoom updated on my Mac. I didn't know the root
oh, okay.
would
No,
change.
fair enough. Fair enough. All right. I'll
So
let
I'm,
that.
I'm sitting here. I'm like, maybe he's having a good time right now, and he can't make it.
The whole time I was like, what the hell is he doing? What is he doing?
I had everything timed out perfectly. I ate my dinner. I took my shit.
Same here.
I had everything set up like earlier.
Same here.
I got on. I was like, yes, gonna nail it tonight. And then you're not coming on. I was like, fuck, I'm here first tonight. Oh well, okay.
Yeah. Well,
Norm
here's some
Macdonald videos.
news. Here's some news. I have a dentist now.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Last name is not Crentist, which is disappointing, but I'll take it.
Prentice the dentist.
It's
Nice.
probably why you became a dentist.
Probably. How could you not with a name like that?
I mean, you kind of have
You
to.
kind of have to, right?
You know, like if your last name is Killer,
Mm-hmm.
you should be one.
Probably.
Speaking of killer, cancer is a killer.
Cancer's a killer.
Took down Norm Macdonald.
What a perfect like Norm Macdonald way to go out. Fights it for 9 years, doesn't tell anybody.
And not only that, made several jokes about cancer.
Yeah.
You know, like what is it? I'm gonna butcher it, but it's something along the lines of you know, like they say he was fighting cancer and he lost the battle. He's like, well, he didn't lose. It's more of a draw because cancer doesn't win. You know, and it's like, yeah, all right. So
Oh man. Yeah, all day I've been watching Norm Macdonald videos.
I have not actually. I have not been watching any Norm Macdonald videos. I've not been watching any like reaction videos because that's one where they've been doing reaction videos to his death, and I'm like, no, I'm not watching any of those.
No, that's stupid. I've been watching a lot of Conan O'Brien's interviews. I didn't realize he had like a billion of them with Norm Macdonald. Oh man, I was just
Those
watching
are
one where
so good.
I'm watching one from '95 where he's talking about how Pulp Fiction's his favorite movie, and like he's watched it 100 times, and he went to rent it the other night on the cable network. And instead of Pulp Fiction, they gave him what the fuck was it? It was a porno.
Of course it was. Yeah,
it was something friction.
I love the one
Pump
where
friction. That's what pump friction.
I was gonna say it's got to be Pump Friction.
Yeah.
I love the one where he's on with Conan, and it's what's her name? I want to say Courtney Thorne Smith.
Oh yeah, watch that one today too.
And she's talking about how she's in the movie with Carrot Top, and Norm is just fucking losing it with Carrot Top.
Losing
and
it.
then they say like, "What's the name of the movie?" And it's like Chairman of the Board, and Conan goes, "Yeah, do something with that, you freak." And he goes, "Yeah, but the board is spelled BORED," and everyone loses it. It's the funniest fucking shit ever. Oh, it's so good, so good. Like I always knew he was hilarious. Like I was a huge fan of him from SNL and stuff like that. And then you know, like he just kind of stopped. Like I didn't watch the cable sports show that he did, but then I watched one of the roasts, and when he was on and he did like the cleanest roast ever for Bob Saget, I was like, or was it Bob Saget? I think it was Bob Saget. And it was like everyone else is like filthy and dirty and perverted, and he just comes out and he's like, he's just doing like weird like 1950s jokes where he's just like, you know, like he's got the eye of an eagle and the hearing of a hawk, and that Bob Saget is for the birds. It's just the cheesiest jokes ever. And it was priceless. And then after that, I was like, oh yeah, that's right, he's still alive. So let's consume everything. And thankfully, because of YouTube, you can.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, that was shitty news.
Yeah, it's shitty news. It's shitty news. But you know what? He would want us to laugh with him and at him. So I'm going to continue doing so.
Hells yeah.
But we didn't come here to talk about that.
No.
We actually came to talk about a camcast that is 15 years in the making. Even before we had a camcast, we were like, we gotta do
it will
this.
happen.
We have to do this.
But like straight up as a camcast, this is a year and a half in the making because we always wanted to do these before the new movie, and that just kept getting pushed back.
Yeah, exactly. That was just one of those like, thank you, COVID, because we've been wanting to do this one for so long. I mean, fuck, May 2020. I was primed. I was all set. I was like, yes, this is going to be awesome. And then it got pushed. And I was like, okay, well, fine. It got pushed. COVID, whatever. I'll watch it by the end of the year. No,
a whole year later, and you're finally getting it.
Yeah, finally getting it. And I'll tell you right now, we're so close. It's what, the 8th of October comes out?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because Venom's October 1st.
Yeah, and then No Time to Kill. Or No
Time to Die. Yeah. This would be the first time in a while where I've done back-to-back Fridays in the theater. Because there's no way I'm not seeing Venom in the theater.
Oh, I'm watching Venom.
Or Venom 2.
I don't
Venom
know
2 is definitely.
I don't know if I'll go opening night, but I'm 100% watching Venom in the theater, especially with the reviews it's getting from audience.
I haven't looked at any reviews. I just heard that one blurb about the end credit scene is gonna knock your socks off, and I'm like, okay, fine, cool. The odds are pretty good with opening night, though. I don't see why not. I mean, I'm looking at it like, yeah, even Michelle's down for Venom 2. Oh yeah, okay, that's what I thought. You were half listening. Okay, yeah. Yeah, she hasn't even seen the first one and apparently doesn't want to. Whatever.
This one's got a whole bunch of Woody.
I think it's Woody Harrelson. I don't think anyone's ever actually just called him Woody.
The Woody.
Get it out of your system.
Woody.
Woodrow. Woodorama.
Woodamama.
The woodest Woody who ever Woody. There, I finished it for you. Okay, all right. So,
all right.
The Camcast in particular is all 4 of Daniel Craig's James Bond movies leading up to the 5th and officially the final one.
Yeah.
No Time to Die. So that we'll have officially talked about all of them. And that's one thing we can cross off our list. Yeah. Also, I'm also going to tell Kenneth which Halloween movies that I have in mind for him to watch. And then he's going to do the same for me.
It'll happen.
Mm-hmm. I'm really hoping you haven't seen these two. I went foreign for both of them.
I don't know. We'll see.
I know. One of them, I'm almost certain you haven't. The other one, I'm like, the sad part is the one that I dug deep for is right in your wheelhouse. So I'm like, fuck, he's probably seen it.
There's a good chance. That I've seen.
There is a very good chance.
You got backup options? You got backup options just in case?
I have backup options just in case, but unfortunately I didn't write them down. So that'll be TBD if you have seen any of them. Although, like I said, you might even have seen both of them. It's possible.
It is possible.
But I'm hoping it's not.
This is exciting.
Having said all that.
Yep.
I mentioned 15 years ago. Let's go back to the year 2006. Mm-hmm. When a young, relatively fresh-faced Daniel Craig was cast as James Bond, and people lost their fucking minds. They lost their shit. How could a blonde, short guy be James Bond? Like, this is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
James Blonde, I said that to Michelle. We were watching Casino Royale, and I was like, that was their big thing. Like, oh, James Blonde. Oh, that was their clever, like, dig into him. And I'm not always the most cleverest guy in the room, but that is lame. That is incredibly lame.
Yeah.
So, like I said, Casino Royale, 2006, directed by Martin Campbell, who also directed GoldenEye. So this is already we're in very safe hands. He's handled the transition from what's his name?
Pierce Brosnan.
Nope. Timothy Dalton into Pierce Brosnan.
Oh, so Dalton.
Pierce Brosnan into the modern age and introduced Judi Dench as M. Mm-hmm. So that's the first time we got to see her in that movie, or as M. He also directed, I don't know if you, actually, I know you've seen this. I'm not even going to be a jokester about this. Mask of Zorro.
Yep.
And Green Lantern. No, nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect.
I really got to rewatch that. That's going on the Camcast for 2022. We're doing Green Lantern.
Yeah, okay. We'll rewatch Green Lantern, but I'll tell you right now, I've rewatched it a couple of times since.
Yep. No.
That is a
shame.
No, in fact, that might be the Camcast that, unless you're particularly generous, that might be the only Camcast that I really have a hard time saying anything positive about, aside from the cast. But I mean, like, they're all great. You can only be so good in a movie that is not.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really do much for any of the characters, unfortunately.
It was too over stuff. I remember that. It had too much going on.
Hold on. I got a compliment right off the top of my head. I got a compliment. Mark Strong was perfect casting for Sinestro.
Right. And it's perfect.
And it's a shame that the movie did so poorly, both critically and financially. Because, I mean, if they didn't bomb, if it made $1 billion, like even double its budget, we would have had more Green Lantern movies, whether they were good or not. Simple as that. It's just, that's how it works. They put money into it. People bought it. Okay, fine. And I can't knock them because I didn't like it doesn't mean nobody should like it, right?
Right.
But unfortunately, because that movie was so horribly thrashed that we won't ever get to see Mark Strong as Sinestro again.
It's a bummer.
It's a huge bummer because, like, you could just make him up from here to here, and that's it.
Yeah.
You could put, like, body armor underneath his costume. He doesn't have to work out,
You know what? I'm never going to say never anymore, though, because with the whole.
Actually, yeah, you're right.
The whole Flash thing, and we're going to see Keaton.
I was just going to say, if you got Michael Keaton back as Batman for however long it's going to be, we don't know for how long. So yeah, you're right. Yeah. Never say never.
Never say never.
Which is a good thing to look at it. So anyway,
never say never. Isn't Never Say Never a Bond movie?
Maybe.
Sounds like a Bond title.
It probably is. Okay. All right. Look.
Titan. Well, hello there, buddy. Were you watching James Bond too?
Yeah, he was watching. He was watching all of them with us.
Nice.
All 4. That's how it works. A lot of times it's just like, hey, buddy, are we watching wrestling tonight? Are we watching Jason Bourne tonight? Are we watching Spider-Man? What about Daredevil? He's watched a lot of Daredevil with me.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, so getting back into it. This was written by names that you're going to be repeated throughout all 4 of them. Okay.
And this is Casino Royale. I don't think we've even seen Casino Royale, have we?
I might have
been in the movie yet.
Casino Royale. Just for the sake of argument, we're talking about Casino Royale.
There it is.
So
there it is.
If there's any issues about this, it's Casino Royale. Okay, are we good, Ken?
Right there.
We're good?
Woody. I'm good now.
Okay. Yeah, you did have to get the last one in there.
Yeah, I had to get it in.
Okay. So it's written by Neil Purvis, Robert Wade, and Paul Haggis. Sorry. Now, Neil Purvis and Robert Wade have written every Daniel Craig movie, or at least partly written, had some sort of hand in writing every single Daniel Craig movie. Okay. Starring Daniel Craig as James Bond. Shocker. We've got Eva Green as Vesper Lynn, and a
beautiful woman with an unfortunate name.
No, I was talking about Mads Mikkelsen. He's next on the list.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Boy, oh boy.
Oh.
Just kidding. It's Eva Green. Eva Green. There's nothing wrong with her name, Vesper Lind. I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Vesper?
I think it's better than Strawberry Fields.
That's such an old school Bond name.
And it's not even a good one. Not that, like, I went through the list with Michelle with a couple of them, and some of them are all right, but most of them are pretty bad. Strawberry Fields is like, it's one of those like cheeky little ha ha ha. It's a Bond girl name, but you're like, it's not a really good one.
It's horrible.
Anyway. I mentioned Mad Mikkelsen. We've got Judi Dench as M, reprising her role. I think she's played M the most, actually, now that because it's all 4. So she did 7.
Yep.
She might have done the most. Anyway, we got Giancarlo Giannini as Rene Mathis.
Mm-hmm.
Jesper Christensen is Mr. White. Not even sure why he's on the cast list, but whatever. Tobias Menzies is Villers, he's M's assistant.
Mm-hmm.
He's on the cast list, ladies and gentlemen. Isaac de Banzole is Stephen Obono, and he's the leader of the Lord's Resistance Army, the African warlord who wants to take what's her name? Valenka's arm later on in the movie.
Right.
Simon Abkarian is Alex Dimitrios, the contractor for Le Chiffre. Ivana Milicevic, foreign name, is Valenka, the aforementioned Le Chiffre's girlfriend.
Okay.
Katerina Marino is Dimitrios' wife. It's unfortunate for her for a number of reasons. Mostly, she's married to Dimitrios, and he's a piece of shit. Claudio Santamaria is Carlos. He's Carlos, the second bomber. We've got Sebastian Fouquin is Malaka. He is the parkour / bomb maker that we see at the beginning of the movie. And he's credited as being one of the guys that came up with parkour itself. So That's really cool.
That's really cool.
And finally, last but not least, but I guess in this case, we're saving the best for last because we've got Jeffrey Wright as Felix Leiter, the CIA agent who helps Spawn, and ends up becoming his friend.
Yeah.
Another spoiler. Also, if you guys are keeping track, he's the new Commissioner Gordon in the new The Batman movie. And much like my reaction to when they race swapped Perry White for Man of Steel, my reaction was, I'm okay with this. This is good casting.
Jeffrey Wright is friggin' amazing.
He's the best part of Manchurian Candidate, and it's not like Liev Schreiber is bad in that movie.
Yeah.
He's really good in that movie. Jeffrey Wright is just so much better.
Jeffrey Wright's one of those guys where he could play Uncle Ben and Peter Parker could still be white, and I wouldn't even question it.
Yep. I would be like, okay, that's fine.
Jeffrey
I'm
Wright,
all right with it.
Let's do it.
I know the internet would explode if they did that, though.
Oh, yeah. Jeffrey Black.
Yeah.
Uncle Black.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know Uncle Ben was a Negro. And then you have to be like, oh, anyway. So the budget is $150 million.
Yep.
Box office was $616.5 million. That's a huge payday, ladies and gentlemen.
That's a big one.
So, well, literally, this is one of my favorite movies, period. It's one of my favorite Bond movies. It's not my favorite is Skyfall. I'm just going to tell you right now, right out of the gates, it is Skyfall.
Ditto.
Casino Royale is a close second in terms of Bond movies. And I'm talking like all encompassing. I've watched almost all of the Bond movies. Okay. But I have to say it is a generational thing. Because like I remember loving GoldenEye and the Pierce Brosnan movies, except for Die Another Day. I remember distinctly watching Die Another Day, and I was like, oh, like it starts off cool where they have Bond arrested
Yep.
And then he comes out and he's got like full beard and he's been in jail for quite an indeterminate amount of time. I was like, that's a great way to start Bond. And then after that, it's just.
What did you in? Was it the laser from space that melted the ice hotel?
You know what? Even everything leading up to that, but like the Ice Palace was one that I was like already I was like, oh, okay. And then you've got like the race swapped bad guy.
Yeah.
And that one I was like, oh, we're really stretching it here. Like, plus just like it's all gadgets, it's all style over substance.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, and it's very telling that if I remember correctly, that came out the same year as Jason or the Bourne Identity, or the Bourne Identity came out shortly after that and just flipped the spy thing on its genre. Because like this Casino Royale is heavily influenced by the Bourne Identity and Batman Begins.
Big time.
Those are the two big ones. And they'll tell you, like, they'll literally sit there and say, we never thought of a reboot until we saw Batman Begins. And then we were like, okay, all right. We knew it had to be gritty and more grounded, like the Bourne Identity, because that movie was a massive success. And like I said, flipped the spy genre. So yeah, okay. So you got those two. But yeah, this is like one of my favorite Bond movies, but it's also just one of my favorite movies in general. I rewatched this movie quite a bit. Yeah. Okay. And for me, it's still held up quite nicely. One of the things I got to say, though, and I was thinking about this when I was watching it, was I actually like how the story progresses logically. It starts off, Bond kills the informants, right? Mm-hmm. But he's hunting down this bomb guy. So he hunts down Malacca, that whole awesome chase sequence where he's chasing him through the construction, and there's parkour moves, there's all these like jumping and running, and like Bond is showing that he's not a pretty guy, like he's running through walls while Malacca is flipping and like going through upper parts that are really thin and stuff, and Bond is like brutal, but he's not dumb. Like there's parts where like Malacca's climbing up and instead Bond just flips a switch and now he's like catching up to him because he's like riding the I don't want to say elevator, but lift. We'll call it a lift, right?
Yep.
So it's those things. And what I love is that they're showing you, okay, hey, this isn't the James Bond that you grew up with, because this is him as he just became 007. It's like his first official 007 mission. So he's rough around the edges, but he's not stupid. And you'd think, like, why would they hire a dumb guy wouldn't get this far in MI6 or any agency, let alone their secret, like, 00 program where now you've got a license to kill. And that's all they are. We keep calling James Bond a spy, but he's an assassin. That's really all he is. Okay?
Yeah.
But, there's a lot of spy tropes in the movie, and that's fine. And he's helped define the spy genre, which I'm not going to knock either. But if we really want to mince words, he's a government assassin.
Oh, 100%.
And that's one of the things that they really lean into in these movies too, where they go say, hey, look, yeah. She's like, what is it? I need a scalpel.
Mm-hmm.
You're a hammer and I need a scalpel. And it's like, oh shit. But like, so his taking down the bomb maker is now what causes Le Chiffre to get another bomb maker to now bomb that plane again. Like that was the part of his plan, just so that he can get a decent return on the investment to pay off the money that was invested by that. It's such a cool name, the Lord's Resistance Army. That's such a cool name. It's horrifying that they're using the Lord's name to promote war, but regardless. So like, I love how that is everything. All of it is just, oh, you want to do this? Then Bond does this. And Bond doesn't really know who he's fighting. He's just fucking people over. And then, then they get to the, and that's where the story progresses. That's one of the things that I think is awesome. It's one of those rare moments where you literally go, yeah, no, this isn't like 20 reshoots or whatever. It feels like they had a really good idea of what they wanted. They fleshed it out and then said, okay, boom, let's do it.
Yep.
You don't have anything?
Was that a pause? Was that a pause for me to come in?
It was a very pregnant pause, actually.
It was a pregnant pause.
Yeah.
I thought you maybe had a burp coming up or something, and you had a release.
Anyway, I'll keep talking. That's fine.
Yeah, you know what? Wait. Whoa.
You don't have to contribute. It's
you
all
know what? You're talking about this being all like him on his first mission and shit. I do love about Casino Royale how inexperienced he seems at times.
Yes.
Like he's flying through. Like I like and don't like the beginning because it seems like he has no care for innocent bystanders whatsoever. He's like just
he doesn't
through and killing whatever.
But that's the thing, he doesn't though, and I think that's probably one of the things that kind of twisted your thought process this time around. Is that, and I thought about this too. You're not supposed to like Bond for the first chunk of this movie.
I was watching this again after watching 4 of them now. I'm going back now, and I'm like, I really don't like him. Like, I honestly hate him at this point, which is probably considering it was Daniel Craig and everyone was already like, oh, Daniel Craig.
Right.
So you don't get this like this James Bond that women want to be with and men want to be. You know, it's this like dirty fucking prick.
Exactly. And that's what I was thinking about that too. And I'm like, I bet you that's why he's like, because now you're at a point where you've watched it so many times that you look past the action, because that action sequence in the beginning is so arresting.
Right. And back then when I saw that for the first time, that action sequence blew my mind.
Like it was awesome because like it starts off black and white.
Yeah.
This really calm scene. And then all of a sudden you have the bathroom fight scene and you're like, whoa, okay.
And that's a hard hitting scene. Like that's.
Yeah, exactly. Like right away you're like, okay, this isn't James Bond. This isn't the James Bond that I'm familiar with.
Pierce Brosnan.
You know, like, or like where you might see a chop or a punch.
Yeah.
That's it. This is like brutal, like hold your face down into the sink, try to drown you situation. Right. And then it cuts back to this calm, quiet scene with the section chief, and they're just shooting the shit, you know, and then right back to that. So you get that and you're like, okay, all right. But then we get hit with this chase scene. And again, now it's like full color, sun, like lit everything. And it's, like I said, it's this gritty chase sequence that you would have never seen in a Bond movie prior to this.
No.
So you don't think about all these things. I always get to the point where Dimitrios' wife, when he ends up sleeping with Dimitrios' wife, just to get information on what Dimitrios is doing.
Yep.
And she's killed in like a horrible way. Like they found her in the hammock, covered in sand and everything. And that's when like M is just like she didn't have to die.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's when you start to see the first little bit of remorse in Bond. That's where he's starting to think of it in a different spectrum now.
And I will say that the chemistry between Daniel Craig and Judi Dench is fantastic. It's such a mother and son type vibe going on.
Exactly.
And you don't get that with Pierce Brosnan. Like Pierce Brosnan, he was on like equal level.
Yeah. Just a heads up. My father-in-law will probably be walking by here. So, so you might have to edit that part out.
That looks like your wife.
And the dog barks.
It is, but you're on today. You're doing quite well. You are your father's son.
I am.
Yep, very much so. But like I was saying, so even for me, and I've watched this plenty of times. You're not supposed to like him, and he's supposed to be rough around the edges. But like I said, you get that slight bit of where he's just like, okay, fuck, you know, because she didn't have to die.
No,
you know,
like he never looked ahead, and again, that's his inexperience in this, right? And it's throughout the whole movie too. It's later on when he gets easily poisoned. Like an experienced Bond would have been like, I'm not drinking that, you know.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. That one I don't know so much. But what it is I feel like, because he's super cocky the entire movie. He's like, there's no way, like he broke into M's house.
Yeah.
And then broke into her computer. Yeah. Right. So like he's literally like, I can do whatever the fuck I want. There's no repercussions. Then she gets killed, and he's just like, I don't think he was like, oh God, he was just like, oh, okay. There's some repercussions,
Should have used protection.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I understand watching it now and going like, this guy's a prick, and you're right, he is.
I was viewing Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace in very different like different views this time. Like it's crazy. I always watch Casino Royale, and then I would watch Quantum, and I would go, Casino Royale is so much better. But
I still think so.
Now I can watch Quantum, and I can see all the good in it. Like it had a rough because of the writer's strike and shit. But like there's a lot of good in that movie. And we'll get to that. But I mean, it was interesting to see that to me now they're on very close sequel grounds.
Yep, I would have to agree. Have to agree. So other than that, I just got to say, like, the cast, amazing.
Yep.
Action was amazing.
Yep.
And the reinvention of Bond was amazing. Because because Quantum of Solace is right around the corner. Quantum of Solace had to happen to get us to Skyfall, or at least to get us to a point where you could put those two movies anywhere in the series. Because you can, like, Skyfall, they treat it like he's at the end of his career, right?
Yes.
So you could kind of bookend the entire movies, all of the movies, with these three movies, right?
Yeah.
But the reinvention of Bond, which I feel, I know they tell you it's complete by the end of that movie because he does the line, he says Bond, James Bond. It's not complete until the end of Quantum of Solace.
No. And that's the refreshing take of it too, is that Quantum is like a direct right after sequel to Casino.
Exactly. Like even they say it's within like
you never get
6 months to a year. Exactly. They say 6 months to a year is when this movie picks up. And you can see Bond's character has gotten better. But again, not until the actual end of the movie does you get the sense that, okay, it's not just like God and country. He's not just some damaged guy that gets off and killing people. Now he's realizing he's got to do it a certain way to catch these guys properly and try to minimize as many innocent people dying as possible.
Yeah.
So without getting too long-winded about Casino Royale, that's pretty much it. I think it's one of the best Bond movies, and it's one of my favorite Bond movies.
Look at.
I don't really have much else to say.
I haven't done this in a while, eh?
No, you haven't. No, you haven't.
Okay, I made a straight-up pro-con list for Casino Royale. I'm going to whip through them. You can jump in whenever you like.
Oh, I will, bro.
Oh, I know you will. So we already touched on the fantastic action sequence, which is like clearly influenced by the Bourne movies, 100%. Great editing during the fight sequences, like the hand-to-hand and everything, beautifully cut.
Yeah, like
that's one thing that bugs me in Quantum is that the fight sequences don't look good. I don't know who they had in that.
A lot of the sequences, just in general, is that straight up Bourne ripoff where that's 6 million cuts for 10 seconds of video. And you're just like, no, stop doing that. Like, I know that, they joke about it, but like Taken 3 was the worst for it when they had like 17 million cuts for him climbing over the fence.
Yeah.
Maybe just don't show the scene.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Maybe just don't show the scene. Maybe just have him hit the fence, scene cut to him on the opposite side of the fence.
Yeah. Simple.
I'm not going to assume he went through the fence.
There's nothing exciting about climbing a fence. You don't need that.
I don't need to see him do it from 14 different angles, spliced.
Oh my God.
Anyway, so I agree. The cinematography in this movie is fantastic.
Oh, gorgeous all around. Gorgeous all around. And Quantum's isn't bad. Like the race or the chase sequences are good. A lot of the setups, like scenery wise, are beautiful. But when it comes to that quick hand-to-hand stuff, Quantum just goes way too far with it. And maybe it's because they were basing that more on Supremacy and Ultimatum. Because
they had to.
Casino would have been based off of Doug Liman's work, whereas now they're going Greengrass in the sequels, right?
Exactly. And that's exactly what it is too. And you can tell in the fight scenes because like Lyman does cuts
Yeah.
But there's a lot of long shots in there too.
Yes.
And a lot of the cuts make sense. Whereas that sometimes like that Bourne ripoff style, you can tell a really bad one by how many cuts there are and how they don't make sense. Yeah. And that's what you're right with Quantum of Solace. There's a lot of that.
Yeah. So, okay, right off the bat, Judi Dench is amazing. She is the linchpin of the series. I'm saying it right now. Yeah. Great seeing Daniel Craig come in and do his thing, but I'm telling you, once Judi Dench leaves the series, you can feel it in Spectre.
Which I think is intentional, though.
It is because they're going more in the traditional Bond going forward kind of deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
We'll get to Spectre.
We will.
Awesome chemistry as well between Daniel Craig and Eva Green. Like, they're fantastic, and especially when Mathis is playing third wheel to them. All that stuff with the three of them back and forth. I love it.
It's so good. It's so good. I forgot to mention that it's one of the few movies that have an emphasis on a poker game.
Yeah.
That is actually exciting. Like, a lot of times when I get to a poker game in a movie, I'm just like, okay. But there's that dynamic with Vesper and Mathis, but there's also that awesome chemistry between Le Chiffre and Bond,
Yeah.
And that worked out really well too. Like, they're playing each other. Like, they're not playing cards, they're playing each other, and that's what they'll tell you. Mm-hmm. One of the things I was going to say, I forgot to mention this, but I loved how at one point when Bond goes, I need you to wear this dress because when you walk into the room, I want all eyes on you. They do that trick twice before he brings that up. Le Chiffre did it on the boat with his girlfriend who came out of the water. And then what's his face? Demetrios did it with his wife when Bond was first playing him and won the car.
Right.
I was like, oh my God, that's so funny. That's so funny. Like, twice before. And then they go, well, we did it for this reason. And what did everyone do when both those women came on? We all stared at.
You're watching.
Yeah, so, it worked. It worked quite well. But yeah, chemistry is, in fact, nobody in this movie doesn't have chemistry.
No, chemistry is pretty good all around. Like,
yeah,
pretty spot
for the people that share screen time.
Yep.
Yeah. And I mean, like, another thing too is the chemistry with Craig and Mickelson had to be good because that final fight scene, so to speak, the death trap scene would not have been nearly as good as if they didn't work so well together.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna get into some cons here, and I'm sure you're gonna disagree with a lot, but it'll make good conversation.
Okay.
This time around, I felt the length in Casino Royale. It felt like a 2.5 hour movie to me at times.
Not for me.
I would have liked a tighter edit.
Okay. That's you know what? I can't really argue that.
That is a pro that will come up during Quantum of Solace because I thought that was perfectly paced. It was 1 hour and 45 minutes. It wasn't 2.5 like the rest of them. And I thought it was a great length.
Yeah, so. I agree. I don't agree with, like, I never felt that Casino Royale overstayed its welcome, but I can't argue with your feelings because it is subjective.
Yeah. So
your build up to that was terrible. You're like, I've got a con, and I bet you're gonna have something to say about it. And like, I did. I agreed. So okay.
Let's see here. Yeah, one of my cons was how much I hated him. I know I'm not supposed to really like him, but to me, he felt very much like Stephen Strange in the Doctor Strange movie. I actually
don't think they intended for you not to like him. But when you reflect upon it, I feel like you're not supposed to. Like, I think they were looking at it like, you know what, like, most people get on with it because it's like, it's James Bond, and it's definitely different from any other Bond you've seen prior to this.
Big time.
I just look at it now and I go like, well, it's like with Rick Sanchez, I look at it like, maybe you're not supposed to like him at this point.
Yeah.
And so when you said that, I'm like, oh, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess it's not a complete con, but right away, like rewatching it this time, I was like, I got really like Doctor Strange all over again. I hated fucking Doctor Strange. I was like, I have no reason to root for this guy at all.
Me too. Me too. I was just like, all the worst things that I didn't like about Tony Stark that in certain movies they amplified. And then they did this, but they made him more of an actual biting prick as opposed to just more of a sardonic wit. Yeah. And it was just like he with Tony, even like at the beginning of Iron Man, he was that douchey, bruisey celebrity, kind of a douche, but he was a likable douche. Like he was a charismatic, likable douche.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas, like he's the kind of guy where you go like if somebody goes, "Oh, I don't really like Tony Stark," the people that know him are like, "Yeah, I can see why, but you just got to get to know him."
Yeah.
Whereas with Doctor Strange or Stephen Strange, I was like, "How did anybody?"
I see. Yeah, like Tony Stark had redeemable qualities. Like this guy's
Rachel McAdams is a former girlfriend of his, and I'm just like, how would this even happen? Like, she's such a good person. How would she even like listen to him speak for longer than 30 seconds and go, yeah, you know what? That's the guy I want to marry. Yeah, that's the
right
one.
there. Right there.
I can't think of anyone else.
Dad will be so
entire
proud.
City. Like, anyway. But yeah, so I think the more I say that you're not supposed to like him, the more you go, okay, well, so I'm softening that dislike is what I'm doing.
And I mean, like, it didn't really make me feel too confident that Daniel Craig was a great choice as Bond. And it's not on Daniel Craig, it's on the portrayal of Bond in this film. Where every movie on, like, I'm like, okay, this is close to the Bond. This is close. And then you get Skyfall, and you're like, this is fucking perfection.
Yeah. Right? And then you get to Spectre, and then you go, I'm not quite
Maybe
sure.
Maybe you should have retired on Skyfall.
What you guys were doing here.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, okay.
And then
that's gonna be my face. That's gonna be my face right here. What? Anyway.
What are you doing, man? The last two are cast related, and again, I love both of these guys greatly. It's more on the character in the film. So Mads Mikkelsen, I love, great chemistry with Daniel Craig throughout this. But I found Le Chiffre to be like a very bland, one-note type of Bond villain. Like I enjoy.
You are wrong.
I enjoy the.
That's villain. Right. That's a direct quote from the movie.
Yeah, that's a great quote. You are wrong. Never heard that in any other movie before. It's great that Casino Royale can really make that quote stand out.
Did for me, pal. Did for me.
Okay, and Jeffrey Wright. All right, I love you. Okay, we've talked about. I love Jeffrey Wright.
I know
his role in here of Felix and the entire involvement of the CIA. I feel like it could have just been cut out of the movie altogether.
Well, then how would he get more money?
It just felt like.
How would he get more money?
They could have made another way to get money. I just felt like.
But then it's another superfluous thing.
It was too because it didn't pop up to like 3/4 through. Whereas like Felix and Quantum, I love him in that. Like, and he's great throughout that whole thing. This just felt like. I don't know. This
one I wholeheartedly disagree. I think because you're saying you can cut it out, but then I say, well, how does he get more money? And they go, well, they could explain it better. No, well, yeah, they did by getting Felix Leiter, a character from the Bond series. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. And they said, hey, this is the new Felix Leiter. Okay, cool. So it's a way of saying, hey guys, don't worry.
Yep.
He doesn't do anything. Honestly, his role in Quantum of Solace isn't much different. It's just a little bit fleshed out. That's it.
Right, and that's the thing. It's more fleshed out. Bond. It's more fleshed out.
All he's doing is helping out Bond. That's it in both movies. That's it.
He's just a helpful dude.
Exactly. That's exactly it.
All right. Well, there you go. That's my con. He's too helpful.
That one I wholeheartedly disagree with. But overall,
that's why I say that one for last.
You should have led with that one. You should have said, you know what? This con is going to be the one that you're going to have an issue with. And then that way, when you say it, then I clearly have an issue with it, as opposed to, what the hell was it? Runtime. Yeah, the runtime.
Runtime.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's
So anyway,
how,
ladies and
that's how I'm
gentlemen.
gonna that's how I'm gonna judge my cons for now on, and your reaction to them is whether I get the Spectre face in return.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Right.
I love that you're saying Spectre face as if you're assuming that Spectre is now my least favorite Daniel Craig Bond movie. That's funny.
It is.
Okay, so overall, not a bad movie.
No, it's a great movie.
It's a great movie. In my opinion,
Definitely enjoyable.
one of the best.
It doesn't,
One of the best.
and I feel like this about the whole series, mostly besides Skyfall. Like when I'm comparing to all the other spy series out there, I find that these had the least replayability for me. I can watch Mission Impossible and Bourne a lot more than these.
Casino Royale and Skyfall I watch fairly regularly.
Yeah.
And like even if we're gonna use like Mission Impossible versus Jason or the James Bond, like the Craig Bonds, it's for me the rewatchable ones is literally just the Macquarie movies.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that I rewatch the most. But Mission Impossible, the original, the first one, I've rewatched that one. I would say the Macquarie and Mission Impossible are the three that I rewatch the most.
And Mission Impossible too. Don't forget about that. Spectre face.
Are we doing lame jokes again? I thought you got all those Woodrow Wilson jokes out, or Woodrow Harrelson jokes out. Sorry.
I got to spread this out. We got 4 Bonds to talk.
Sorry, that's right. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. So yeah, like Casino Royale is definitely, and Skyfall are the ones that I rewatch. Quantum of Solace is probably going to be bumped up more so. Spectre was always the one. Quantum of Solace and Spectre are always those ones where I go, you know what, maybe I'll rewatch them and maybe they're not as bad as I make them out to be.
Yeah.
You know. But anyway, speaking of Quantum of Solace.
Quantum of Solace.
This movie came out in 2008.
Yeah.
Fairly quick turnaround time for this movie. I always forget how quick it was to get this movie out.
It was super quick, especially when you compare it to the rest of the series, because like
aside from COVID,
they go 4 years, 3 years, and now 6 years in between Spectre and this new one.
yeah. I mean, technically it was 4. If we go like
COVID bumped it 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah. COVID bumped it 2 years. But so getting to Quantum of Solace came out 2008. This is the one, and again, Spectre are the ones where they talk about the shooting and how it was horrible to shoot this. This one, it was just one of those like the writer's strike hit. So they did the best they could. You know, they got Mark Forster, who's done quite a bit of movies. The only one that I've seen that I've liked was Stranger Than Fiction, which I thought was really good.
Great film.
Again, we've got written by Paul Haggis, Neil Purvis, and Robert Wade.
Yep.
Cast: Daniel Craig, James Bond, Judi Dench, and okay, all right.
Okay.
For the sake of argument, Daniel Craig is in every movie that we talk about. What? Now we get to Olga Kurylenko as Camille Montez. We got Matthew Amalric, as Dominic Green, is a member of Quantum, which later we find out is a subsidiary of Spectre. But because they didn't have the rights for Spectre, this was supposed to be his new like MI6 versus Quantum. That's how it was supposed to be. We got Giancarlo Giannini as Renee Mathis again. Gemma Arterton as Strawberry Fields. Just an MI6 agent, just trying to keep Bond from doing whatever the hell he wants.
Yep.
Anatoly Tubman, who's literally is casted as Elvis. And for everybody who does not know who this person is, this is the bowl cut guy. And my favorite part about this casting is that bowl cut haircut was his choice. He designed this character's entire look because he wanted it to be completely edgy and eye-catching. And he did all of that plus the bowl cut.
Oh man, that's great.
Oh, and I love that his name's actually Elvis. I don't know if they ever mentioned his name at all, but I love that his name is Elvis. We got Jesper Christensen again as Mr. White.
Yep.
We've got a very young David Harbour playing Greg Beam, a CIA section chief, and he's kind of a douche.
He is a douche, indeed.
The first appearance of Bill Tanner, as played by Rory Kinnear. Okay, not the first time that Tanner's been he's been a long-standing part of the series. This is the first time we get to see Rory Kinnear play that, and boy, oh boy, it's hard watching the movie now because it chronicles his hair loss. Anyway, we've got Joaquin Cosio as General Medrano, and anyone who watched our Suicide Squad, or the Suicide Squad Camcast knows, prolific actor, but that guy can play dictators. He plays the shit out of dictators.
Oh yeah.
Once again, we have Kenneth's favorite, Jeffrey Wright, playing Felix Leiter, who doesn't really do much in this movie except for help Bond. So you'll probably hate that.
He does more in this movie. He does more.
I bet you're gonna.
You know what he does? Oh. You know what he does? He flies on a plane. Okay, he didn't do that in Casino Royale. He talks to David Harbour.
How did he get there?
You know who David Harbour is? You know who did? Hellboy. All right, in the future. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You see where I'm going with this? You
know it's actually a piss poor argument.
He sat at a poker table. What a bitch.
He sat at a bar in Quantum of Solace. And he sat on a plane. He sat on a plane and he sat at a bar.
Yeah.
So all he's done is sit and help. That's it.
Hey, he walked up to that bar. He wasn't sitting the whole time. Give me a break.
He walked up to Bond and stopped Bond from killing Le Chiffre with a knife.
Yep, he did.
He
did.
Yeah.
You know what he did in this? He talked to the villain and he was all like, yo. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, see, you can't win this argument. I go all night.
It's not that I can't win this argument. It's just that there is no argument because whatever you have is moot. The budget. This is where the budget gets weird now. The next couple of movies. So the budget for this is 200 to 230 million. They haven't really narrowed it down. So for the sake of argument, it's 230 million. Let's leave it at that. Don't do this in between BS. This one box office was 589.6. Not as good. And, you know, like we touched upon in Casino Royale, there's reasons for that.
Yeah.
Part of it is the writer's strike, 100%. Another part, unfortunately, is the over-reliance of the worst parts of supremacy, Bourne Supremacy and the Bourne Ultimatum.
Yeah.
You know, like if you're going to do cuts like that, you have to be well versed in doing cuts like that.
Yeah. I don't need
you can't just
go like this.
Exactly.
It's a punch.
You know, it's like luckily there aren't too many fight scenes. So there's not so many, but like it's that sequence in the bell tower.
Yes, that's right where I noticed it.
That's the one where it's so bad that I was like, really?
I actually thought my movie was skipping a bit because of how poorly it was cut.
Like at that point, if you're going to do it, then why not just hire somebody from Paul Greengrass's like movie group? Just one guy from them and just kind of say, hey, okay, look, we're trying to rip you guys off really, really badly, but we don't want it to look like shit. So could you help us with that? You know what I mean? Because it's money. Like he's not going to sit there and go, sorry, I'm part of the Jason Bourne franchise. I can't help. He's going to go like, okay, well, you paid me, so let's do this. Because yes, that is the one part in the movie that's where it's the most apparent and most annoying. Later on, like in the climax scene, there's quite a bit of it, but they do it in such a way where it's not as bad. They calmed it down a bit is really what it is, I think. I will say it's better this time around. Watching it this time around, I was like, this isn't as bad as I've made it out to be. Because like for the longest time, this was the worst Craig movie for me.
Yeah.
It's not now.
I don't understand why I disliked it as much as I did back then.
Because it wasn't Casino Royale.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. And I never ever, I think this is actually the first time I've watched them all in a row too. Like I've never really watched it in between Casino and Skyfall, like in a row.
It's been a little while for me, but I have done it. I have done it. You know, it's funny. I say better this time around. The second thing I say is felt more like Bourne than Bond. And yeah.
I mean, there's definitely aspects for sure that are straight out of Bourne. I don't think until Skyfall does a series really stand on its own without.
Yeah, but the other part that kind of threw me about this one too is because it's not that far from, like, I look at it like, let's say it's 8 months to a year after Casino Royale.
Yeah.
The technology levels skyrocket though. They go from like laptops and like really budget cell phones to suddenly having like a full-fledged, fleshed out like tablet on the table.
Yeah.
With like next generation style sequences where they're moving it around like Minority Report, and you know, and I was like, what?
And this takes place 6 months after Casino Royale. So that's some crazy.
I'll give you a year. I'll give you a year. Okay, it takes place a full year, but still. And then you get to Skyfall and you don't have that. You don't have that tech anymore. You don't see that tech anymore at all. So I'm like, oh. So that one always bugged me. Even the first time I watched the movie, I remember just being like, whoa, that's a huge leap, but okay, fine, whatever. I can tell you right now that the cast is great. Again, the cast is great. I have no issues with the cast.
Yep.
In retrospect too, I always felt like this movie was a bit more rushed. And I think that was one of the problems that I had was it felt more rushed.
It was rushed. I mean, they've even admitted to it being rushed because of the writer's strike. They were trying to get it going.
Right. Exactly. But this time around, and I remember the last time I watched it too was right after I watched Casino Royale again. And I look at it like it's a nice little palate cleanser to get you to Skyfall.
Yes.
You don't have to watch Quantum of Solace, but if you do, it complements Casino Royale.
Yeah.
And it sets you up perfectly for Skyfall. Yeah. Because by the end of Quantum of Solace, like we said, you know, when we're talking about Casino Royale, this is fully formed Bond, right? So this is like, it's like watching Batman Begins and then watching The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
You have to have The Dark Knight there so that it gets you to The Dark Knight Rises. So it gets you to that point where you're like, okay, all right, I can get to this. Because like, I don't feel like Batman, like Bruce Wayne isn't Batman at the end of Batman Begins. No, he's close. He's Batman at the end of The Dark Knight. That's when he's officially Batman. And I'm like, oh, okay, let's see more of this guy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So now, like I said, so I've softened how I view the movie. And to draw a parallel to Spectre, if this movie was the same length as Casino Royale, as Skyfall, or Spectre, it would be in the boat where like Spectre and Quantum of Solace would be like neck and neck for being the worst of this series, you know, because one of my major problems, and this is a spoiler, but we're talking about it within the next hour or so. One of my biggest problems with Spectre is it was too long. There's an entire chunk of the movie that I'm like, take that out because it was so boring.
I'm actually a little worried about
boring.
I'm a little worried about No Time to Die because it's the longest Bond movie ever.
You know what?
2 hours and 47 minutes for a Bond movie?
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say this. This is what I'm going to say. Let's just wait. Let's just watch and find out.
Yeah, for sure. But
because like Skyfall is in and around the same length as Casino Royale and Spectre, you know, and the Dark Knight Rises all of these movies start coming out and they're at the 2.5 hour mark, 2:20 mark, but very few of them felt that long.
Yeah. See, this is my favorite Mission Impossible, hands down. It's 2 hours and 27 minutes, and it's perfectly paced. I'm never bored.
It's exhilarating.
You know, you got
out of that, and that's what I'm saying. But even Rogue Nations is another one that's like 2:20.
Yeah,
and it never dragged.
Not at all, man.
Whereas, I'm glad now, like in retrospect, I'm glad that Quantum of Solace is only like just over 2 hours.
Yeah,
because like it had a nice tighter story than Spectre.
Yep.
And boom, you're done. You're gone. You're it. That's all. So aside from the way the action was cut, for the most part, like the later action scenes are much better. That elevator scene, that was awesome. Just short and sweet. Takes them out.
Yep.
Gets out of there. Has that little quick meeting with M, and he goes, "Hey, she was very brave, so I want that in her file." And that's when M goes, "We can trust him wholeheartedly." Yep, we can trust Bond.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, like I said, I mean, obviously now we realize my order has changed, and we know that the order is Skyfall, Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace, and Spectre.
So where was it before? Was Quantum on the bottom before, under Spectre?
Yes.
Okay.
That's exactly what it was. That's exactly what it was.
We flipped. Gotcha.
Yeah, those two flipped, and I had a feeling that was going to happen. I was kind of thinking, you know what, I bet you I'm going to look at Quantum of Solace differently, especially after I watch Spectre again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, it's, I mean, I don't really want to say too much more of that. All I can say is,
we'll get to Spectre. And
Quantum of Solace is better than I've ever given it credit for.
I'll just say on Spectre, these two lines are my pros, and these are my negatives.
Yeah, we might actually be fairly close. Very close. My Spectre is the only one that I have like extensive notes.
Yeah.
Everything else is just point form. Cast is great, and then I'm like, we'll just shoot on the cast. There. That's it.
Yeah.
Plot is last thing I'll mention about Quantum of Solace. A lot of people gave it some flack about the plot being essentially controlling water.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually a pretty crazy, like
in retrospect, a brilliant plot for a villain.
That's a crazy cool plot to like be able to sit there. Also, I just love this scene where like they show up in that big, huge like mansion or whatever with the guy. He's like, sign this, and he signs it, and then he goes, okay, now he signed this, and he's like, what's this? Yeah, we now have we control all the water.
Yeah.
And we
like double of what you pay now.
Yeah. And he's just like, I'm not signing this. And he goes, oh, okay, fine. Don't. But the reason why you're here and the other guy wasn't was because he didn't want to sign this. But hey, you know what? You do you. It's totally cool. And then he's just like gets out. And I was like, it's so cool. And I think the other part that they gave a lot of flack for was Dominic Green as a bad guy. The only part that I didn't like was that he was close, like he was giving Bond a fight at the end.
Yeah.
But other than that, I thought he was cool that it was a guy that he's not like attractive, but not ugly, but he thinks he's so much better and cooler. But he also acknowledges that he's a bit of a prick. You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
It's like the little guy at the bar that has a big mouth because he's got big friends that'll always back him up. And I can say
experience?
Hold on. I can say this because I've had conversations with my friends where I'm just like, look, like if I'm running my mouth, you let that guy get a couple shots in, okay? And then pull him off me, but don't fucking just back me up and let me get away with murder.
That's funny.
And that's what I'm saying. So speaking as a little guy who can get, pretty mouthy when he's, or what is it? You think you're 8 feet tall because you're hammered?
Yep.
Yeah. No. You don't do that. don't do that. And I actually, I think I've only really done it once or twice, but it was like, it was a scenario where like we were at Fat Cats and I was already hammered and it was like new owners, right?
Yep.
But we had been there for so long with the previous owners, the previous waitresses and stuff that like they didn't say anything if we went behind the bar to grab pool balls and stuff like that. So like I broke glass and I went around the bar to go clean it up. And the guy wouldn't let me.
Oh, really?
Oh, he was just like, oh, get out of here. You can't be behind there. I'm like, I'm just trying to clean up after myself. I mean, I made a mess. I broke some. I don't know what your problem is. I'm just trying to help out. And I couldn't grasp the concept that like, well, it's a couple of things. First of all, you're not allowed behind the bar.
No.
Second of all, you're hammered and you're going to clean up glass. That's a potential accident waiting to happen.
Yep.
And a liability issue.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy's like, he didn't kick us out. He did afterwards because I was running my mouth. But like, and that's how it was. Like I was being a prick about not being able to clean up, but I couldn't grasp the concept.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've never actually been like, I'm gonna fucking start a fight today. But I was close to starting a fight with that guy because I was literally like, oh fuck, I was just trying to fucking help. Like he doesn't want to potentially have my like hands cut up because I'm touching glass and I'm hammered. Like I don't know what the fuck this guy's problem is. And we got kicked out. We definitely got kicked out. So anyway, what else? Do you have anything else for Quantum of Solace?
I got my pros and my cons list here, and this is where we'll really get into why I like this movie so much more now. Okay. I've touched on a few of it already. The quicker pacing and the shorter runtime. Love that. Obviously, I like Felix more in this.
Mm-hmm.
Because airplanes.
Yeah, because the airplanes in the night skies are like shooting stars. Could really use a wish right now. Anyway, go on.
This is beautiful, man. Beautiful.
You know what that is? That's Paramore, baby.
Paramore.
Actually, no, it isn't.
Nothing on you.
It's not Paramore, but Haley Williams sings that part, though. I don't know who sings it now. Anyway, go on. Get back to your pros and cons.
Bill Tanner. I love Bill Tanner so much in here. Like, and he doesn't really do too much in this. It's more Skyfall and Spectre. But I mean, like right off the bat, I was like, I love this guy. This guy.
Yep. I feel the same way.
Dominic Green, my second favorite villain in all the Bond movies. Hands down. I thought he was just a slimy jackass. I loved his plot. I really, really, really enjoyed him in this.
Yeah. I'm curious. Who's your first?
Silva.
Yeah. You know what's funny though is like, so because your feelings of Casino Royale and my feelings, it's Silva, Le Chiffre, Dominic, and then Blofeld, which we'll talk about that one.
Blofeld's down.
Which is fucked because of the actor. The actor is so like he's the best actor in the entire Craig series.
Yeah.
He is so fucking phenomenally good. Anyway. Okay.
Olga Kurylenko, right?
Yep.
Is excellent as Camille. And it was really refreshing to see James work with her without a romantic involvement at the end.
That's why she took the role.
I loved it.
She literally took the role because he didn't hook up with her.
Yeah. I thought that was so good.
I like the way they did it too, where he's just like, he goes for it and she's just like, get the fuck off me. And he's just like, oh, well, Bond is going to Bond. And the other thing that they don't give a lot of credit to is the treatment of grief. Like he's grieving.
Yeah, he's grieving.
He says he hates her, but he's grieving. He has not got past this. And that's another thing that was refreshing too, is that she knew that he was grieving. She knew that this wasn't whatever. So she just said, that's it. And then that was it. And they went their separate ways. So yeah. Hugely refreshing.
Really refreshing. Also the way he took out Dominic. I
was just going to say because the way that they
like he could have just point blank shot him in the head, but no, it was give him some oil and be like, you only make this far before you drink that.
And then the best is at
Sure
the
enough,
end where
he
she's
died.
like, they're like, yeah, we found Dominic Green's body in the desert. Seems he had a stomach full of oil. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah.
Must have been thirsty or something like that.
And lastly, Gemma Arterton. I love Gemma Arterton. I love Gemma Arterton. That kicks off my cons. How Gemma Arterton dies. Pro.
Yeah, it's a horrible way to go.
Because it's like, oh God. Con because it's like, oh God.
Yeah, there's nothing good about the way she dies at all. Nothing good about the way she dies.
So it is incredible that they were able to get her body to the bed covered in oil without dripping anywhere on the floor.
Yep.
That's talent.
Well, I mean, they're quantum, right? So
they're quantum. James using Mathis as a shield was weird.
No.
I thought that was weird. He wasn't dead, and he used him as a shield.
Yeah, but they talk about that's kind of how, like, they would have done the same. Either one of them would have done the same.
Okay.
I will say that it's a terrible way for Mathis to go.
Oh yeah,
that is a con. That is a very even to this day. That's one of the ones where I'm just like, oh, why did he have to die?
Yeah.
And B, why do you have to die like that?
Yeah.
Strawberry Fields. I like Gemma. I could like. I'm glad that she was early in her career for this role.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because if it was Gemma now, then I'd be like, what a waste. What a waste. So it's one of those like, hey, you were in a Bond movie. You're a Bond girl. Woo! But other than that, the less we talk about it, the better.
Camera work during the fights, obviously.
Yep.
And then this one, the pacing and the villains and side characters are great.
Yep.
Some of the dialogue is really wonky, and it's obvious that they were having problems with the script because of the writers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's they even said they started shooting this without a complete script.
Yeah, and like even Craig has said that like he was helping out as best he can, but it was like he like in retrospect he's like I don't know why I was trying to do this, like I was trying to do so much, and it was like there was really no need for it, but we did the best that we could, and you could see that like they really did do the best they could.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. So the other thing that I really liked, this is the last thing I want to mention, because we're touching about the changes. I love at the end where he's sitting there with the guy that recruited Vesper, and he's just sitting there, and he says to the girl, he's like, Canadian intelligence, okay, you can go. She thanks him, and then he leaves later. We don't know how much time passed, but he leaves, and M's there, and she's like, is he dead? No. And then that's where like you have that, okay, this is now James Bond. Like he's doing it the way he should be doing it, but his own way.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a great way to end that movie.
Yeah. Excellent. I mean, I watched it again. I was like, I don't even understand why I disliked this the first time. Like, I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's a fun movie.
Yeah, super fun movie. I mean, it's still way above a lot of the other Bonds out there.
I used to say that you couldn't watch Quantum of Solace without watching Casino Royale first.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, no, you know what?
You
could just pick it up and go, you know?
Yeah, they explain enough of the backstory from Casino for you to catch on and know what's
going on. Exactly. So yeah, so all in all, it moved up in my ranking.
Yeah.